Thank you, Anna. Thank you, Anna. I wasn't expecting not to have to stop people, so that's really great. Okay, but next I will move to Sarah Walker from the English Collective of Prostitutes in the United Kingdom.
Okay, I'm from the English Collective of Prostitutes. My name is Sarah Walker, and thank you to the organizers who invited us to be here and made this session possible. We have always said, since we started in 1975, we've said that poverty is a form of violence and sex work is a survival strategy. It's how we're able to escape low wages, unweighted exploitation, domestic violence, homelessness, debt, and dependence on men. And many of us have used it to move country and to be able to change our lives and raise the quality of our families' lives. In 1975, 2 immigrant sex workers in the UK heard about the strike by prostitute women in France, and they decided to form the English Collective of Prostitutes to campaign for safety for sex workers and to abolish the prostitution laws. And we have really aimed to keep our focus on that through the years, through almost 40 years. We have a sister organization in the US called US Pros, and we're part of an international network, which I can say more about later. We are women of color, we're immigrants, we're white women. We're mostly mothers supporting families. Some of us have children with disabilities, and some of us have disabilities ourselves. We're from rural areas and from cities. We're lesbian women, and we're also, some of us are students. We're from all parts of the sex industry, the streets, indoors, exotic dancers, strippers, and women who work on phone sex lines. We start with the situation of women on the street, because on the streets, women face the most violence and the most prejudice. And globally, we know that most sex workers are street workers. We don't glamorize prostitution, and we don't glorify it. We say that we're workers like other workers, and we want protection. I'll just finish this section by saying, in the UK, we are facing very hard times. The economy is falling apart, and the same is happening across Europe. You know, from Greece to Spain to Portugal, many other, Ireland. Things were bad, and now a right-wing government has come to power, and things have got even worse. The first thing they did was cut benefits for mothers and children and people with disabilities. There's been a massive leap in women's unemployment. It's 1.1 million, the highest in 23 years. This is why more women are turning to sex work to survive, and more young people and more men. I'll just give you one more fact. Now in the UK, 1 in 5 mothers is skipping a meal because they don't have the money, you know, to feed themselves and their families. And I will stop there and say more later about the criminalization and violence that sex workers are facing.
Could I ask Cheval to come and join us? And at the same time, ask Mariana Bodsa from SECSE, the Association of Hungarian Sex Workers, to give a short introduction as well.
Hi, good morning everyone. It's going to be short because actually most of the things which I would love to say to you, she did already. So I'm going to ask her later. But my name is Mariana Bodsa and I'm from Budapest, Hungary. Sex workers' rights advocacy in Hungary started in '99 when a brave lady just stepped up and she did everything with her power to represent sex workers in general. In general, I mean women, men, and transgender sex workers as well. Ever since in Hungary, prostitution, sex work, we like to say, is partly legalized, which means that we have a law on sex work, and sex workers can be self-employed, but under some circumstances which are very, very hard. But I'm going to talk about this later. In Hungary, our organization is the only one for particularly for sex workers. There are some more women groups, like feminist groups, which we try to work together with them, but sometimes it's very hard if it comes to the question of being victimized or rescued or whatever. So this is my short introduction. I would like to mention my organizations. Like Sexe is from Hungary. I'm also representing SWAN, which is a network, advocacy network for sex workers in Eastern Europe and Central Asia. And I'm also a board member on NSWP, which is a network of sex work projects globally. And I'm going to talk about them also later. Thank you.